You're watching Fox 17 News at 9.
Last month, I shared publicly my diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, and I did it because I believe silver mercury dental fillings triggered my symptoms. Tonight, I take you along on my annual checkup with my neurologist, a pivotal doctor visit that shed a lot of light on my prognosis. So, as fast as I can, or just normal walk? Okay.
A battery of neurological tests.
Now turn around.
Checking for problems with coordination.
Look here at my finger, please.
Strength.
Don't let me push down.
Vision.
So that's very good.
And balance.
Now try to walk one foot in front of the other.
Can I look?
Though I sailed through all of my other tests, this last drill shows I'd have a hard time passing this standard DUI test, though I don't drink and drive.
What about the toe-to-toe out there? I wasn't happy with that.
It's not perfect.
Okay.
It's not perfect.
I did not like that.
But that's one of the things we look for, and we'll keep an eye on that.
To be honest, it scared me a little. Until that specific test, I had not noticed any balance issues in 3 years since the first attack of MS-like symptoms that left me unable to walk correctly for a few days, dazed and confused with blurred vision in one eye. That was July 2008. My children, just 2 and 3 at the time. After a look at the outward symptoms, next a look inside my brain from my annual MRI taken in May.
There's a spot right here, and then there's a spot back here.
My neurologist is looking for white lesions. Multiple sclerosis turns a person's own immune system against this coating that protects nerve fibers in the brain and spinal cord, cutting off communication from point A to point B. Each divot creates a neurological deficit. Finally, the words I'd been praying I'd hear.
The good news is these changes have remained stable.
Stable, stable, stable. In layman's terms, that means I have no new white lesions, no new damage, no new active disease for the 3rd year running.
If you get to 5 years, that risk continues to fall off.
DEF.
That's why this visit is so critical. The fact that I've made it 3 years with no new white spots is promising. So promising, my doctor, who first told me he was 99% sure I had MS 3 years ago, now says each year of good checkups brings an even better prognosis. But I never thought I'd hear something this good 3 years in.
Your likelihood of having MS lifetime is actually quite low.
My what now?
Likelihood of having a second attack of developing MS is actually quite low.
Since I've been coming to you, you've told me that, you do think I have MS, and now you're saying I may not, or?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. Some of the changes on the MRI look like they could be due to MS, but they could also be due to other things.
Those other things, I think, are heavy metals, toxic to the body, accumulated over time. Then, I think, dental work in 2008, just before my onset of symptoms, tipped the scales of toxicity, giving me a life-changing dose of mercury. You see, silver fillings are 50% mercury, and I let a mainstream dentist talk me into having 4 30-year-old silver mercury fillings replaced with more silver mercury fillings. In hindsight, I think that was stupid. Once I got the diagnosis, I spent several months researching, and after much thought and prayer, finally decided to have the new silver fillings and the rest of my old ones all removed the right way, with a holistic dentist who used every precaution to protect my then failing health. Within a week of having the mercury fillings taken out, the only safe way there is, I was 50% better.
I knew when I was working on you that this would be the end result. So I'm ecstatic.
Okay, Stacy, come on back.
I've spent the last 2 years undergoing intravenous chelation, which acts like a magnet to draw stored heavy metals out of the body. Tests continue to show my heavy metal levels are high.
Could we have you down for a couple hours?
A couple hours today?
Yeah.
Though I respect my neurologist and the MS Society for all they do, this is where we differ. They do not acknowledge a link between silver fillings and the disease. Again, I think I'm walking proof.
You understand how I feel about, I don't think the chelation business and some of these other things make a big difference, but it's not like I think it's a terrible idea. I'm not certain it's helping, but that's fine. So we have a difference of opinion around that, and that's perfectly okay.
Bottom line, I've gotten better with each passing year since that terrible episode in 2008.
Yes, do that again.
Okay, go ahead. That scared my family to death.
So that's very reassuring, and again, I'm hopeful that if your MRI is stable in the next 2 years, we might just sort of, see how it goes.
Would you call that an undiagnosis, or how would you phrase that medically?
I would still say you're at risk, but I think your risk continues to diminish.
I'm just happy to be where I am, even if there's disagreement on how I got here.
I have chosen to share my journey with you because I believe others can benefit from what I've learned by experimenting on my own body and ridding myself of heavy metal toxicity, an ongoing process. You can get to my website at fox17.com, click Fox Links, and look for Stacy's story.